All right, Shalom. This is the brother Nahoya from the GMS Orlando camp. And I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah. And a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word. And to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. This is 1 Peter chapter 2. And I'll start at verse 1. And it reads, "Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile, hypocrisies and envies and all evil speakings, as newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby." All right, and through the Spirit, I want to go into a lesson on application. All right. We have a lot of knowledge through the Spirit. All right. But as the scriptures say, with all that getting, we must get understanding. All right, and understanding can only be gotten through the application, all right, of the knowledge that we've received. And I say that to say this through the Spirit, that your ability to apply the scriptures, all right, is ultimately going to dictate your growth, all right, in this truth. All right, this isn't a race to gather as much knowledge and information as possible. All right, though we have access to an abundance of information, ultimately, all right, the scriptures were left for our learning. All right. And the only way we can really learn truly, all right, is through experience and the application of the knowledge that we're learning. All right. And that's why it's important. All right, that when we get all our getting, all right, we must first get understanding. All right, because it doesn't profit you to have this information and not apply it. All right, and this should be applied to your spiritual walk, all right, at all times. All right, in every avenue of your life. This truth should be a reflection of every avenue. All right, whether it's learning how to be circumspect. All right, learning how to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. All right, learning to be at peace with all men when possible. All right, learning to not wish or have any envy or covetousness concerning your neighbor, all right, which is chiefly the brothers in the faith, all right. But learning to apply these concepts, these precepts, is the most important part of this journey, all right. It's not just gathering the knowledge and understanding, all right, but understanding it through application. All right, real quick, this is Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 5. And it reads, "Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth." All right, and the Lord has left the words, his intent. All right, he's left all of these things for a memorial unto us as an heritage. Yet through the Spirit, we must apply these things. And it's extremely important to apply the scriptures, all right, to the best of our ability and get wisdom through those experiences. All right, real quick. This is Wisdom of Solomon, Proverbs 4 and 7. It says, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding." All right. And the chief way to get understanding is through applying these scriptures. All right. The apostles say this all the time. You have to apply these scriptures to your life. It's not just about gathering information. It's most important that we apply this, that we live and become a spiritual example of this. You have Jake, who a lot of times get so caught up in the gathering of information, all right, and the outward appearance of the heritage, that they lose sight and often neglect the work, the inner work that's necessary through the application. All right, having this wisdom, all right, is not just for you to call a chapter and verse, all right, it's for application as well. All right, that your profiting may be seen of all men. All right, and this is extremely important. That's why, the scriptures talk about those who have little, all right, but have the fear of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, those who have traveled, all right, can declare wisdom through that experience. All right, all of these things go back to application, which is the most important part of one of the most important parts, I'll say, of our journey. All right, this is why the Lord has given us certain obstacles in our life. All right, it's not to run from it, but it's to look at it and apply the scriptures to it. All right, and it's not just a to be seen of men. A lot of these things involve you in the privacy of your own home or your own situation. All right. Even inside your mind, you have to dwell with wisdom against your flesh. And all of these things play an important part of our growth. All right. It's not just about, what you know. A lot of times it's what you apply. All right. Concerning the wisdom that the Lord has given us in these days. All right. And this is the difference between those who are spiritual and those who are carnal. All right. Because the carnal man will just gather knowledge. All right. But a spiritual man knows that it's important to apply it. Just having it doesn't profit anything. All right. I won't forget this. I never forget this. When Elder Ariala said, you have to be willing to apply this knowledge, and don't be so timid that you're so afraid to fail or fall or make mistakes. All right. That you don't grow. You just stay in the same place. That's because ultimately you're not applying this wisdom through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. It may be at a job, it may be in a relationship, but the scriptures answer all things. The question is, do you apply it in all areas through the spirit? All right. Real quick, this is Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 32. All right. And it reads, "He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding." Now, I wanted to highlight that, all right, for the beginning part that says, "He that refuseth instruction," all right, because to hear instruction and not apply it is basically to refuse it. All right, concerning all the wisdom the Lord has left us as a memorial and a heritage unto us. All right, and there's an answer for all things in the scriptures. And nowhere at the end of this age, all right, there's still room to improve at all times. Scriptures say iron sharpeneth iron. And the game never stops. All right, until Yahweh Shai comes back, the scriptures say that we are to occupy until he comes. All right, so we have that responsibility to not just have this truth, all right, but to apply it. All right, you should be abounding in spiritual things. You should be abounding in your ability to have patience. You should be abounding in things that may not be seen and honored of men. All right. But personally, all right, where your weak points are spiritually. All right. Concerning the things and the goals that you may have as far as how you want to grow in the spirit and the things you need to work on. All right. Those things can only be worked on through application, through repetitive application. All right. As Apostle Gabar always states, repetition is the father of skill. All right. And these scriptures are a manual, if you will, a guidebook. All right. Amongst other things, of course, prophecy. All right. But inside of it is a detailed counsel from the king. All right. And it only works as much as you apply it. You can apply it in one area of your life. All right. But don't be surprised when the other areas of your life don't play out the way you want them to, or the way they should, if you apply this wisdom. All right. And what do I mean by that? I mean that, for instance, if you're at your job and you just being a niggard at your job, all right, the scriptures speak against that, really. All right. So if you end up in a situation where, you may have missed out on an opportunity while you're at the job, all right, due to not applying the scriptures in its full context. All right, and I'm just using this as an example because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, there are many examples. But what I want to highlight is that this truth can be applied in all facets, in all areas of our life. If we place that focus on it. And that's what it should be. It should be something that you use and apply in your life in every aspect, not just at camp. All right, not just at the to be seen of men. It's about abounding in this. All right. And a lot of the abounding doesn't have to do with necessarily gathering knowledge, but more so growing, and not just growing in comparison to someone else, but growing for the sake of you. All right. Who were you last year in the spirit? All right. And what did you work on, or what did you desire to work on, and have you done it? All right. Because the application of these scriptures is one of the most important parts of this. All right. Matter of fact, this is James 1:22. All right. And it reads, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any man be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was." All right. And this is important because, again, it's highlighting the fact that you have this, you understand it. But when you leave off, you don't apply the wisdom. All right. And a lot of problems can be solved, per se, through the application of that wisdom. All right. And that's an example of somebody who's beholding their face, and then they leave the mirror and forget what they look like. All right. And that's what we ought not to be through the Spirit. And it's not just, the small, I'll say it like this. It's not just the things that are easily seen of men, but it's a lot of the times it's the things that you have to work on in private. All right. That may not be seen of men, but are just as important. And that's why it's important to consider, all right, applying these scriptures and the wisdom to all aspects of your life. All right. When you're at work and you think that, the people there are just people in the world, they don't know what's going on, you're being watched. Even if they don't know that you know the truth, are you walking with wisdom? All right. And that's important. All right. This is why I wanted to go into this lesson on applying it, because, again, all right, we have to understand that at all times, the Lord is challenging us, all right, to showcase what we're learning. All right. Showcase what he's given to us. You show appreciation through application. All right. Through the labor, Lord willing, we're a part of that number. All right. And most importantly, through the application. All right. You can't just see how Peter had faith and Daniel had faith, and then that's enough for you. Eventually, you're going to have to get to a point where you apply it yourself. That's why we say this all the time through the Spirit. This is not a spectator sport, per se. Meaning everyone that understands this knowledge has a responsibility and a privilege, all right, to apply this knowledge to their walk, to their life. And those who are still in a carnal mindset, they lose sight of something that's very important. And it's that the Lord is giving you problems that may look like problems to you, but really they're just opportunities for you to apply wisdom. And it may not seem like that at the moment because it's grievous. All right. But these are all opportunities for us to apply wisdom through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right. Colossians 4:5 reads, "Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man." All right. And sometimes you give a man an answer. All right. And the scriptures talk about answer not a fool. But it takes discernment, spiritual discernment, to understand the difference between the two. All right. And that goes back to application. Walking in wisdom toward them that are without. All right. And a lot of times you're going to be around people that aren't privy to the truth. And more than likely, they're going to watch your example and believe your example more than your words. And this is why applying the scriptures, applying this truth is extremely important. All right. Can someone tell through your walk without seeing your videos, all right, that there's something different about you? All right. And not in a way that's like arrogant, but in a way that you carry yourself. Are you at peace with all men? Are your words short and few and full of wisdom? All right. Not necessarily breaking down the scriptures to everybody you run into, but are you able to apply these scriptures in a way where your Father can be glorified, even if they don't understand what you believe in? If that makes sense. And that comes from applying the scriptures through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. People should see your change. Those who knew you in the world, all right, and see you now, even if you don't break down the scriptures every time you see them, all right, there should be a certain type of spirit that you carry with you, all right, because the light is in you now. It's not on you, it's in you. And there should be a certain light that's seen in you compared to those, the life that you lived before you got into this truth. And that comes through application. All right. And that's why the scriptures say with all that getting, get understanding. All right. Because you get wisdom. All right. You can understand prophecy. All right. You're privy to history. All right. But a lot of times, especially people that knew you before, you know, they may listen to the knowledge that you've learned, but more than likely they're watching your example. And that can only happen through application. You know, I use the job comparison because a lot of people, all right, especially if those who may know that you believe in something different based on your diet or whatever the case may be, they're going to watch your example. All right. They're going to watch how you move, and they're going to attribute that to this truth, whether you're applying wisdom at the job or not. And it doesn't mean that you go in there and you set it off, you break down the scriptures in the lunch, in the break room. And no, but what it means is that how you carry yourself, all right, should make those around you, all right, that are watching you move, they should be able to see the example of this truth in action. You know, they have a saying in the world that says actions speak louder than words. All right. And this is why applying the scriptures and applying this wisdom is most important. All right. It's one of the most important things. All right. Of course, you know, it's the name, you know, faith in Yahweh Shemal Shai, understanding prophecy. All right. But on a personal level, applying this wisdom through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemal Shai is of the utmost importance. All right. To set an example. All right. Matter of fact, let's go to Peter. I love when Peter said this. This is This is 1 Peter 3:15. And it reads, but sanctify the Lord in your hearts. And you know, the heart goes back to the mind. And be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. All right. So they should see your example. All right. When it says sanctify Yahweh Shemal Shai in your heart, that means, you know, your mind is renewed. If the mind is renewed, then there are certain actions that are attributed to that change in mind, that renewed mind. All right. And those who will come up to you, they'll ask you, what do you believe in? Or they'll ask you opinions on politics, on history. All right. They'll even ask you for advice if you're applying these scriptures. All right. Verse 16 reads, having a good conscience, that whereas they speak evil of you as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse your good conversation in Hamashiach. All right. And we bring this out all the time. But for those who don't know, conversation also goes back to conduct, having a holy conduct, having a good conduct. And they'll see that example and they'll want to inquire of the hope that is in you. Why do you move the way you do? And after seeing that, they'll ask you, what do you believe? And that's when you can, you know, discern how much you give at what time. But all this goes back to application. There were many occasions in the scriptures, all right, whether it was the disciples, whether it was Paul, whether it was Yahweh Shai, when they were able to apply wisdom in a way and in conversations that really just stand out. All right. Where they would have the right answer at the right time, or they would not speak at all. You know, when Yahweh Shai was dealing with the Pharisees in the adultery situation. And at a moment while they were talking, he didn't say anything. And all of that comes from application. All right. It doesn't mean that we're going to do it perfect every time. All right. But the only way we get better is through repetition. All right. And repetition in applying this wisdom is important. All right. So I just wanted to spend some time through the spirit to go into that. You know, it's on my mind. You know, we're in a beautiful time through the spirit with prophecy. All right. But at the same time, all right, it's important, especially now, all right, to apply these scriptures, all right? The Lord has given us a lot of wisdom, especially how to maneuver in these last days. And it would be a great disservice to you in your journey through the Spirit if you don't apply this wisdom, all right, now more than ever. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasha Allah. And a sincere salutation to all you Akim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Shalom.